Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Wilma the Wonder Hens podcast. I'm Mel, the creator, and today is all about Flystrike. Flystrike can affect humans and other animals, but today is all about backyard poultry and how to prevent it, what it is, and what we can do to help treat it. Once again, I am not a veterinarian. This is all information that you can find online at mercvet.com. The Chicken Chick does have a good article on this, and also Gail Damerow book, the Chicken Health Handbook, many articles online from poultry professionals. Please excuse the noise in the background. We have 6 ruly chicks that are still living inside my house. Pumpkin is sitting on a clutch of quail eggs, and Polly Pocket, the lone quail, is also in the house. This does not include the 4 crazy dogs and a 20-year-old that is living inside my house. Now that we have all of those disclaimers out of the way, let's get this episode started. Hey y'all, I'm Mel, and you are listening to Wilma the Wonder Hen. Are you a chicken mouth loving mama or daddy? Together we'll dive into the latest poultry keeping adventures, chat about everyday life, with a generous mix of some hilarious stories. Bringing you fascinating interviews with poultry owners from all over. You'll find tips and basic advice from your local veterinarian, along with new chicken keeping gadgets and reviews. I'm going to see what Mr. Jangles and Wilma has to say about that. We're going to encourage and help you build a stronger, healthier flock. Let's go see what Mr. Jangles and Wilma is up to. Let's go let these heifers out. Let's start out by going over what is Flystrike. Flystrike is actually called myiasis, and according to poultrydmv.com, Flystrike, also known as myiasis, is a painful, potentially fatal condition. It is caused by flies laying their eggs on the poultry, which hatch into maggots and actually begin to eat the bird alive. Now, hearing that definition, you can understand why this is a very important topic, especially now that we're during the summer. This is part of our summer series. This is when all the flies are coming out. This is when you may notice watery, poopy diarrhea because your flock is consuming more water. So they are producing looser stools. Now that could also mean that your chickens may have a worm problem. They may have a bacterial problem in their digestive system. Many different things could be at play here because of that. But commonly during the warmer months is when they're taking in more liquids. So they're producing a looser stool. And if you have a flock like mine that have really fluffy butts, this is definitely not a good combination. Now, there are various types of flies, biting flies, non-biting flies. There are different types of little biting gnats, black gnats, and these can cause other issues within your flock, especially if you got a storm of them or a swarm of them within your area, if you live close to water. We're not going to go into those types of things. We're just going to focus on Flystrike, what it looks like and how we can treat it, and things that we can do to actually deter flies building up around our coop area. Now, your chickens usually do a great job on their own of taking care of their personal hygiene, taking dust baths, keeping their feathers and their skin in good condition. So always a good reminder to make sure that your chickens have loose soil that they can frequently take a dust bath in. But your flock is also going to need your help and depend on you to help them keep their area clean. So although we do love them and we need them, they need us too. So we have to work together and keep them safe and healthy so they can continue giving us snuggles and love and all those beautiful eggs and baby chicks. Now that we kind of went over the description of what it is, basically it is where your chickens poop. It stays on their feathers and the flies just gravitate to it. They lay their eggs there, and this is when maggots form and they start eating your chicken. Now, this isn't just limited to the vent area, which seems to be their favorite place, but any type of wound that your chicken may have, This is why it's so important to do chicken checkups to make sure that you don't see any open sores. Roosters, when they mate, sometimes they can cause wounds to your hens. So it's super, super important that you keep an eye on your birds for any new signs of injuries. I think the most important tip here is to keep control of the poop. We all know chickens like to poop. They poop all day, every day. It's just constantly you're scooping poop. So the most important part is to keep the poop at a minimum. And you want to keep their area clean and dry. You want to keep some air circulating through. These are all super important to keep the area clean. I know I keep saying that, clean the area, but poop laying around is just a magnet for flies. And keeping a dry area. I know that's very hard some days when it's pouring rain here right now, and their area is a muddy mess. Is their run a mess? No. Will they stay in their run? Absolutely not. They want to be out where it is raining and wet and where all the bugs are. You know, when you're trying to tell your kids what's right and what's wrong, and they just look at you and smile and then turn around and do the opposite of what you just told them to do. Now, this will include making sure that you clean up water spills. Try not to keep water in their coop because that bedding gets saturated, and then, of course, flies are going to gravitate to any type of damp, wet area. So remember, clean and dry. And then next, you just want to control the flies. So how do you control the flies? There are various ways. Some people use the recycled fly traps, I guess, where you just empty them yourself, you add bait yourself, and you just reuse them over and over. Personally, I cannot do that. I did try that. That's a no from me. I can't barely stand it, let alone empty it, and then refill it again with bait. No judgment here. You do what you need to do. If you like the kind that you empty yourself, go for it. Personally, we use the bad kind. I put one at every coop. I am not woman enough to empty it. I just can't do it. The bad kind, all you do is tie it up, you add water, and when it's full, you toss it. I know a lot of people rave about the vanilla scented air fresheners. They hang them up inside of their coops. We did add one of those from last year. We got it from Henny and Rue, and it actually did a good job, and it kept the coop smelling nice, so I'm probably going to add those this year as well. And if you want heavy duty control, Elector PSP, which is probably one of my favorite products, especially for mites or lice or any of those pests. It has no egg withdrawal. You can actually spray it on your chicken. It is quite expensive, but it does last a long time, and a little bit goes a long way. You could give your coop and run area a good spray down of the Elector PSP. Now there are cheaper alternatives for controlling of different insects around your coop and on your chickens themselves. But I would ask that you just research each of those products before you use any of them. And depending on if you have cats, some of them are very toxic to cats. Before we go into how to treat Flystrike, I would like to remind you that if your chickens have had constant dirty vents, and you can't figure out what's going on, like I said, there are reasons that could lead up to that, like the worms and problems with their digestive system. I would take a fecal sample to a veterinarian. This doesn't have to be an avian specialist. I know a lot of local veterinarians, they can take, that fecal sample and just run a test to kind of see what is going on with that. So we just wanted to add that in there because I'd rather you get to the bottom of the issue. Haha, that's a funny joke, but not really. Okay, anyways, I want you to get to the bottom of the issue of why there is consistent watery poops. Maybe it is something that could be treated in a completely different manner. Okay, well, let's assume that someone in your flock has Flystrike. So what do you do now? Most important with any animal that is sick or is showing some type of injury is to separate them. You want to take them out of general population because this is where chickens turn from that sweet little snugglies into bullies and downright will eat at another chicken's wound. So you want to separate them. You want to get them in a warm bath. You want to try and get that butt cleaned up as much as possible. You may find maggots. This is the disgusting part. So you may find maggots on their booty, and you want to continue cleaning it and picking at it as gently as possible because their skin can tear during this time. So you don't want to be rough with them. You just want to gently get their booty soaked. This may take many times to get all of the maggots cleaned and to get the wound, generally cleaned up really well. You can use a diluted betadine solution. My vet recommends that you use a saline solution and some type of vet spray to clean the bottom really well. And then you want to dry it. You can dry the bum with a towel, or you can fully dry it with a blow dryer. You just want to be really careful, keep it on low. You don't want to burn their skin. And then you would want to spray it with another type of vet spray like microcyan, or there's many other by different names. They did recommend when I looked it up online to not use ointments because this is, a gooey substance, and then the flies really love to be in that gooey substance. So you don't want to add ointment. Now, if you go to the veterinarian and they have a different plan for you, that's great. Obviously follow what your veterinarian is telling you, but I know not everyone has access to a veterinarian. So we try to just share information with you on what you can do at home. Dry the bum. You don't want to set her back outside. Obviously, you do not want to put her back into general population or him until the wound is healed. Now, this may take several weeks for the wound to completely heal. And this is a time that you're going to have a separation, not a permanent, but a semi-permanent place for your bird. You want to make sure they're comfortable and they're warm enough and they have enough food, and you can add vitamins and electrolytes. And you want to repeat these steps with the bathing until all the maggots are gone. And then you just want to continue spraying it with vet spray until it heals up. Now, if you have access to an aviary veterinarian, please take your chicken there. Allow them to provide the medicines that you would need to clean it up. They may even do that initially for you, get all the maggots out. They may also put your bird on antibiotics, if the infection is severe enough to warrant antibiotics. It's a pretty serious condition, and you definitely don't want it left untreated. It is fatal. And they may need pain medication because, if you've ever had an open wound, I couldn't imagine the pain that, they would be experiencing. So we always want to do what's right by our birds by allowing them pain medications and antibiotics if necessary. This is just my point of view on it. I definitely wouldn't want any of my birds to suffer. I've only obtained pain medication from a veterinarian. I don't have any insight on natural pain medications or any of that stuff to give to a bird. I don't have enough knowledge on that, nor would I even want to suggest something else. So our biggest takeaways are keeping their area dry, keeping the air circulating, putting up types of fly preventives or fly traps. You want to make sure you keep an eye on your chickens for wounds. Try and figure out what's going on with their poopy butt. If it's regularly dirty and wet just from summer, from the heat, from drinking so much liquids, keep it clean and dry. You may have to give a bath every week. I'm not suggesting you give your chicken a bath every week. What I'm saying is that you want to keep their booties clean and dry, whatever it takes. I do suggest, like I said, to consult a veterinarian, get a fecal sample done. You may also have to trim up those butt feathers. I have Laverne, which is one of my lavenders. I've had to trim up her butt feathers nearly every week, I'd say, or every couple of weeks since the hot weather has started. She is the only one. I am keeping an eye on her, keeping her clean. But I couldn't get all the poop out, so I had to trim up some of the feathers. Just be very careful. Don't cut their skin. Don't cut too far. Don't cut too close to the skin. I will add a disclaimer. If your bird is molting and she has pen feathers, please do not cut the pen feathers. We would love to know if you've experienced Flystrike within your flock and the things that you have done to help prevent it or to help treat it. You can email us at wilmathewonderhen.com. We would love to hear from you. You can also send us a message on Instagram. I would also like to say thank you to everyone who has tuned in, everyone who has left a review, everyone who has donated to Wilma the Wonder Hen. We appreciate every one of you. I know I say that every week, but I don't know if you really understand how grateful we are. We are grateful for our chicken community. We are grateful for all the comments and the shares. It means the world to us. It really, really does. And we do this because we love our chickens. And I think that sometimes we get ahead of ourselves, or maybe we get chickens and we don't know quite what we should be doing. And I'm definitely not claiming that I am a know-all, be-all, but I do like to share the knowledge that I have, because I wish someone had shared that with me. We did have to learn a lot of things the hard way, and we hope that you don't have to. Where compassion always fuels education, the more we know, the better we can treat our flock, and the better we can help those in our community. That's it for now, y'all. Thanks for listening. Bye, y'all. Also, Punky says if you don't share this, she's coming to your house and she's bringing hell chicken with her. I'm Mel, and you are listening to Wilma the Wonder Hen.